Breaking news. People, and when I say breaking, I mean your jaw, your trust, and possibly your Wi-Fi connection. Because what just went down on Love and Hip Hop, Atlanta makes every past scandal look like kindergarten tea time. Imagine this. Cameras rolling, makeup barely set, producers thinking they're about to film a casual little chat, and then boom. Jasmine walks in, belly first, smirk second, and drops a nuclear bomb with 4 little words that shut down the entire set. I'm having his baby. Excuse me, his baby. Oh, it's not just messy, it's catastrophic. It's a betrayal, so raw even the lighting crew forgot to breathe. Now tell me, how many times can Kirk Frost get caught up before the man just legally changes his name to Apology Tour? And poor Rasheeda, y'all, she didn't even get a warning text, not a shady DM, not even a smoke signal. Nope. She walked in fresh lip gloss, thinking she was about to sip tea with Carly, and instead, she got served a full-course meal of humiliation on 4K reality TV. So, buckle up, because what you're about to hear isn't just scandal, it's a cultural earthquake, and the aftershocks. Oh, they're still shaking Instagram as we speak. Grab your seats because what just went down on the set of Love and Hip Hop Atlanta is about to redefine what we call a scandal. And trust me, this is one of those moments that makes everything else look like a rehearsal. Rasheeda, queen of Atlanta rap, mother, mogul, woman who's been through heartbreaks that could fill a book, walks into the studio thinking it's just another day of filming, not knowing the universe has a nuclear-sized plot twist waiting for her. Her husband, Kirk Frost, the man whose name has been tied to leaked vows, hotel escapades, and more private messes than anyone could track, is quietly scrolling on his phone, unaware that the day is about to become legendary in the worst possible way. Jasmine, the other woman, the strategic, calculating force, whose drama is so finely tuned it could give any reality producer a heart attack, decides this is the day she's going to shake the very foundation of Rasheeda's world. Cameras are roll in, crew whispering nervously, and the green room that was supposed to be a casual space for discussion about Kirk's past scandals becomes a war zone in slow motion. Jasmine walks through the side door, not announced, not escorted, just appearing like a ghost in the midst of unsuspecting prey, her belly out, dressed in soft blush pink, hand resting gently over what she reveals in seconds as a life secret, and the first words leave the room in a collective gasp that echoes louder than any mic or camera can capture. I'm having his baby. Tea spills, lenses swivel, assistants run, and Kirk, frozen mid-scroll, drops his phone and stares at the floor like the ground itself just swallowed his dignity. Producers murmur that this isn't in the schedule, but it doesn't matter because the moment is real, raw, and unfolding with a kind of intensity no script could ever hope to contain. Rasheeda returns from her touch-up, sunglasses on, chin high, confidence carrying her like armor, completely unaware of the bomb about to explode. And the second her eyes meet Kirk's tear-filled gaze and Jasmine's smug smirk, it's as if the air itself disappears. Her knees buckle, not in weakness but in shock, and the studio transforms into a scene so chaotic that even the most seasoned crew members freeze. Kirk reaches toward her, trying to explain, to fix, to breathe, anything, but his words fail, his voice cracking as Rasheeda's eyes widen in disbelief and her chest tightens around the betrayal she never saw coming. The silence is suffocating, thick with tension, while Jasmine stands like a queen surveying her conquest, casually pulling the ultrasound from her bag as if she's setting a trophy on a table instead of detonating a personal and public bomb that changes everything. Rasheeda's voice rises, trembling yet fierce, confronting both Kirk and Jasmine, demanding truth, questioning every choice, every hidden conversation, while security steps in to prevent a full-blown physical confrontation because yes, it's that intense. Social media, of course, is already on fire, clips leaking, TikTok blowing up, Twitter turning into a war zone, and Instagram Reels spreading the chaos like wildfire, all before the sun sets on this historic day. Rasheeda's mother, Charlene, goes live, holding a plastic cup like it's a gavel in the courtroom of public opinion, and she does not hold back, calling out Jasmine for showing up with her swollen stomach and smug smile, telling the world that her daughter gave everything to a man who repeatedly proved unworthy of it, and the internet eats it up. 50,000 people watching in real time as outrage meets awe. Meanwhile, Rasheeda disappears from all public channels, phone going straight to voicemail, refusing calls from producers, fans, and even family, taking a step back to process the devastation, to reclaim her power in private, to stare at old photos, replay memories, and question the man who claimed to love her while orchestrating repeated betrayals. Kirk, sitting in the green room, is a wreck, hands shaking, voice barely a whisper, repeating the same confessions over and over. That he didn't know Jasmine was pregnant at the time of the vows, that he was confused, that he didn't know how to tell her, that he made a mistake, each word a dagger to his own credibility, a testament to the destruction of trust and control. While Mona Scottley paces in the control room, realizing that what's happening cannot be faked, cannot be contained, and cannot be turned into the normal television drama they've all seen before because this is real, raw heartbreak unfolding live and no one is safe from it. And Jasmine, of course, isn't done. She books a selective online interview, flaunting her pregnancy, smiling with the kind of confidence that makes you want to throw your remote out the window, claiming she's not hiding, not apologizing, just existing in a world she strategically altered with a single walk-in, a single smirk, a single announcement that has now forever changed the social media landscape. Rumors fly, fan theories explode, Kirk's credibility crumbles further, and the internet demands answers that nobody can provide fast enough, with leaked texts like, "What was missing in me that made him go back to her?" sparking viral commentary that Rasheeda wasn't missing anything at all. That it was his greed, his manipulation, his constant cycle of deception. And the world collectively gasps at the sheer audacity of the situation. Rasheeda, ever the tactician, begins to plan, pacing her private space, strategizing her return, preparing for the moment when she can reclaim her narrative, turning pain into power, betrayal into influence, heartbreak into viral sensation, while Kirk spirals, realizing he's lost not just a wife but respect, control, and public dignity, sitting alone in his home office, crying in silence. Finally, understanding the magnitude of what he's done. And in the midst of all this, the visual moment that will forever be etched into reality television history emerges. Rasheeda holding her wedding ring next to a match, a symbolic gesture so powerful it sends shockwaves across the culture, across fandoms, across anyone who's ever followed this saga. A simple black and white image that screams more than words ever could, proving that sometimes silence, restraint, and a single visual can speak louder than the chaos, louder than betrayal, louder than everything else that came before. Leaving Kirk, Jasmine, producers, fans, and the internet collectively stunned. Proving once again that Rasheeda is not just a character in this story, she is the story itself. And the world is watching as she takes the first steps toward reclaiming everything that was almost lost. As the dust begins to settle on set, the real story starts to emerge, and trust me, it's messier than anyone could have imagined. Because Rasheeda's walkout didn't just break cameras, it shattered reputations, flipped scripts, and left Kirk Frost staring at the aftermath like a man who just realized his life was a viral disaster movie in real time, while Jasmine, smug and calculated, begins to spin her own narrative as if the entire studio were a chessboard and she just moved her queen into position. And the crew, still reeling from the earlier explosion, whisper to each other in disbelief, trying to figure out if they are witnessing reality or some twisted version of scripted chaos because everything is raw, unrehearsed, and dripping with tension that could be bottled and sold as premium entertainment. And the internet, of course, immediately erupts. Clips of Kirk crying, Rasheeda storming out, and Jasmine holding the ultrasound like a trophy circulating at the speed of light, with fans tweeting, commenting, speculating, and dragging everyone involved. Calling Kirk every name under the sun, praising Rasheeda for her strength, and labeling Jasmine everything from villain to victim, all at once, while insiders claim the atmosphere back at the studio is electric. Phones buzzing non-stop, producers pacing, trying to figure out if they can continue filming or if they've just stumbled into a historical meltdown that might never be replicated, and sources close to the cast leak details of lavish lifestyles, private jets, expensive dinners, designer gifts, and secret trips that suddenly make the betrayal feel even more dramatic. Because Kirk's ability to live large while deceiving the woman he vowed to love forever is what really fuels the scandal and adds layers of shock to what the public is now calling the pregnancy bombshell. And according to anonymous sources who claim to have been in the control room, rage was palpable even after leaving the studio, with her manager texting producers that she needed space, that she was processing, that she was planning her return on her own terms, proving that she's not just reacting emotionally but strategically, turning heartbreak into power in a way that only someone who has been through years of manipulation could, while Kirk sits alone, pale and trembling, muttering apologies to people who aren't even in the room. unable to comprehend how quickly everything unraveled, and Jasmine, meanwhile, does her own rounds of interviews with selective bloggers. Smiling, confident, speaking about the pregnancy as if she's both the victim and the victor. Claiming that she didn't plan the chaos but also relishing the fact that she delivered it with precision, and fans explode online, dissecting every word, every gesture, and every look, creating memes, reaction videos, and dramatic analyses, as if they were watching a live courtroom trial instead of reality TV. All the while Rasheeda is quietly rebuilding her narrative behind the scenes, avoiding the cameras, ignoring the texts, and reflecting on what has been done to her, texting only a few close friends and family, saying things like, "I need to reclaim my peace, my power, and my voice because no one else will do it for me." And insiders say that she spent hours reviewing footage, planning her next public statement, and preparing for the moment she could come back, not just to confront Kirk, but to assert that she is no longer a character in someone else's story. She is the author of her own, while Kirk's spiraling continues, with calls ignored, tears shed alone, and a growing realization that his public persona, his relationships, and possibly even his career are all at risk. Compounded by the fact that Jasmine is now controlling the narrative online, selectively revealing herself to the press, giving interviews that walk the line between confession and manipulation, leaving Kirk unable to respond, Rasheeda out of reach, and fans in a frenzy. All of which is making VH1 executives sweat bullets, because what was supposed to be scripted drama has now become uncontrollable, unfilterable, and potentially catastrophic. And if that weren't enough, social media analysts report that search trends for Kirk Frost, Rasheeda, and Jasmine have spiked 2 levels previously reserved for political scandals or celebrity feuds of international proportions, proving that this isn't just a TV moment, it's a cultural event. While insiders leak that Rasheeda is negotiating her exit from VH1, demanding a clean break, cash settlements, and creative control over her next moves, showing that she is thinking 10 steps ahead, transforming personal trauma into leverage and influence. And sources claim that she has already started drafting statements, creating content, and even planning a limited docuseries to tell her side of the story without interference. Which is a power move that the internet immediately picks up on, applauding her for taking control after years of perceived weakness. And all of this chaos is unfolding while Kirk's world crumbles, as producers scramble to salvage ratings, manage public relations, and figure out how to continue filming a show where one of the biggest stars has effectively gone rogue. And insiders report that Jasmine's calculated appearances, selective interviews, and social media maneuvers are designed to maximize drama, boost her visibility, and simultaneously keep both Kirk and Rasheeda destabilized, creating a perfect storm of scandal that keeps everyone talking, while fans speculate endlessly about the fallout, writing threads on Reddit, creating YouTube breakdowns, and engaging in heated debates over who is at fault, who is the villain, and who will emerge the victor. All as Rasheeda quietly plans her ultimate statement, sitting in her private space, reflecting on every betrayal, every broken vow, and every public humiliation, realizing that while the world watches, she has the power to redefine the narrative, reclaim her dignity, and strike back in a way that is both shocking and empowering. And sources say that her next moves will be deliberate, calculated, and broadcast-ready, ensuring that when she returns, the world will see not just a woman scorned, but a woman reborn, taking control of her story while leaving Kirk to deal with the chaos he helped create. And as the dust settles momentarily, the internet collectively holds its breath, because everyone knows that in a world of leaked videos, viral moments, and public meltdowns, this is only the beginning. The first act of a saga that will be analyzed, memed, and discussed for months, leaving everyone involved with their lives irrevocably changed, reputations tested, and egos shattered in ways that reality TV has rarely, if ever, captured. The chaos that started with a single walk-in and a whispered announcement didn't stop on set. It spilled into every corner of social media, news outlets, and even the personal lives of everyone involved, as Rasheeda's calculated silence only amplified the drama while Kirk sat paralyzed in a green room, realizing that every choice, every lie, every hidden conversation had now collided into one public implosion that he could neither control nor escape. And meanwhile, Jasmine, fully aware of the storm she unleashed, capitalized on the situation with a series of strategically timed interviews and cryptic social media posts, each one designed to remind the world that she not only carried Kirk's child but had orchestrated the timing and delivery of her news to maximize impact. creating a narrative that painted her as both the victim and the victor, while Rasheeda, who had been absent from the public eye, emerged slowly like a force of nature, unbothered by the chaos she had inherited, sitting alone in an Airbnb with her thoughts, reflecting on years of devotion, manipulation, and heartbreak, and quietly deciding that this time, she would not just react, she would dictate the story, she would reclaim her power, and she would show the world that being betrayed publicly does not mean being defeated. All while insiders leaked that Kirk had become a shadow of himself, unable to answer calls, to face fans, or even to articulate apologies without breaking down, and producers were scrambling to decide whether to air previously recorded footage, knowing full well that any clip could go viral and further inflame the fire, while discussions of potential legal consequences, custody disputes, and even financial settlements filled the air, creating an atmosphere thick with tension and anticipation. Because this was no longer just reality TV, this was a high-stakes drama unfolding in real time, a cultural moment that would define careers, reputations, and public perception. And Rasheeda, fully aware of her leverage, began to plan her return, not for revenge but for reclamation, drafting statements, coordinating with PR experts, and preparing to step back into the studio not as a participant but as a commander, someone whose voice, presence, and choices would command attention, respect, and power, all while the internet debated endlessly over who was right, who was wrong, and who would ultimately emerge from this spectacle with dignity intact. Creating memes, fan theories, and reaction videos that amplified the scandal with every share, like a wildfire out of control, while insiders reported that Jasmine's confidence never wavered, her smile never faltered, and her calculated appearance had left Kirk torn between panic, guilt, and the realization that his actions had consequences far beyond what he could manage. As Rasheeda meticulously reviewed footage, interviews, and social media reactions, formulating a plan that would allow her to assert her dominance without losing control. And according to sources, she made strategic calls to producers demanding private one-on-one time with Kirk to confront him fully on camera, a move that would ensure every word, every reaction, every tear would be captured, not for humiliation but for clarity, truth, and closure. While the internet collectively held its breath, waiting for the inevitable confrontation, analyzing every trailer, every leaked photo, and every cryptic caption for hints of what was to come, as Rasheeda returned to the studio, eyes clear, expression calm but fierce, ready to face the man who had betrayed her. And when she finally sat across from Kirk, the silence in the room was deafening, the tension so thick it could be cut with a knife. And, as she demanded full accountability, full transparency, full truth, Kirk's world crumbled further. Tears spilling, voice cracking, while producers captured every second, knowing that this moment was the culmination of years of drama, deceit, and manipulation, a moment that would be dissected and discussed for months. As Rasheeda laid bare the choices, the lies, the betrayal, and the emotional devastation she endured, refusing to accept excuses, refusing to grant forgiveness, and ultimately, refusing to let a man's mistakes dictate her worth. While Jasmine, now an outside observer of this confrontation, reinforced the power of timing, strategy, and influence, smiling subtly, knowing that the chaos she helped create had cemented her place in the narrative as both instigator and disruptor. And as Kirk finally understood the full weight of his actions, Rasheeda rose, a vision of controlled fury and resolute strength, looked into the camera, and uttered the words that would define the day, the saga, and her story, forever. "I'm leaving you on camera." A declaration that immediately ignited the internet, spreading like wildfire across platforms, trending worldwide, dissected by influencers, bloggers, and fans alike, creating a moment so iconic that even the producers knew they had captured history, while Kirk sat slumped in his chair, defeated, broken, and exposed, finally recognizing that the life he had attempted to manipulate, conceal, and control was now completely out of his hands. And as Rasheeda walked out, head held high, no makeup, no glam, just raw power, she left behind not just a man, a scandal, and a child, but a cultural event, a lesson in self, and a viral moment that would echo through the industry, proving that the strength of a woman scorned could not only survive betrayal but also command attention, demand respect, and shift the narrative. While the world watched in awe, debate raged, memes exploded, and the saga of Rasheeda, Kirk, and Jasmine reached a fever pitch, leaving everyone involved forever changed, reputations redefined, And the lesson clear that in a world obsessed with drama, control, and appearances, authenticity, strategy, and self-respect are the ultimate weapons. And as Rasheeda stood outside the studio, taking a deep breath, looking at herself in the reflection of a glass door, she whispered, "I survived," encapsulating not just the end of one chapter but the beginning of another. A chapter written on her terms, with no compromise, no apology, and no turning back. And in that moment, the power of narrative, timing, and resilience became undeniable. As the internet, the producers, and even Kirk himself realized that the story they thought they controlled had been hijacked by the one person who refused to be broken. And Rasheeda, finally free, finally heard, and finally in command, left the stage of scandal not defeated but triumphant, her legacy now sealed in viral history. So now the question is, what do you think? Did Rasheeda finally take control the way every woman watching has been waiting for? Or is this just another twist in a never-ending reality TV nightmare? Do we forgive? Do we forget? Or do we stand in awe of the sheer power it takes to walk out on a man who broke every promise and still make history while doing it? And what about Kirk? Can anyone really recover from a betrayal that's been broadcast to millions, leaked, memed, and dissected across every platform imaginable? The internet is talking, the hashtags are trending, the memes are rolling in, and yet, the most important voice is Rasheeda's, proving that you don't need to fight back with tears or revenge. You fight back by taking your power and never letting anyone steal it again. But here's the real question for you, the viewer. If this were your life, how far would you go to reclaim your narrative? Would you walk away? Would you confront? Or would you sit and watch the chaos unfold? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because the world wants to know. Smash that like button if you're ready for more scandalous truths. And make sure to subscribe so you never miss the next explosive breakdown of Hollywood's wildest moments. The drama isn't over, and neither is the conversation.